Okay, so till now what we completed, the login page we completed, then batch master with Crud we completed, then candidate master we completed. Now next module, that is the enrollment. Okay. Okay, Shekhar joined. Shekhar, enrollment API is not working, right? I need to deploy, right? Then only it will work. Shekhar didn't join. Anyone have tried enrollment? Is API working? Let's try it because that one property
Not
was
working.
not working. No? I have to deploy it. Then only it will work. Just a moment. Let me deploy. Okay, so free project API is my main domain. So if I visit this is my main domain. On this domain, I have created a subdomain, that is fees tracking dot. So this is my subdomain and this is my main domain. So this is the control panel. Once we purchase a server, we get this control panel. And here we can do everything, hosting and everything. Okay. So here, this is our subdomain. I have to go to the files. Now I have to build my .NET application. Right click, publish. So it is going to publish on this folder, publish phase tracking. So I will click on publish. It will create a build and it will deploy the build onto that particular folder. Then we deploy the files into that control panel. Okay, publish. Let's go it over here. So existing file I will delete, remove, and then I will upload the latest one. So publish the phase tracking. Okay, I will, whenever we have to upload it, we have to zip the folder. So you can see this is a .NET. So we get DLL and everything. In normal JavaScript file, we'll get JS file. So we have to zip it. Then we will upload this. This is the file. Open. Then we have to unzip it. Then this file we need to move to the parent folder. Move to the parent folder, that is phase tracking. This folder we have to move. So if you see currently in enrollment, we just have this API. Yesterday, if you remember, we created one API to get all enrollment. Okay. So if it is done, then if we refresh, we'll be able to see the new API. Done. Yeah. Let's refresh it. So you can see get all enrollment. This is the yesterday's API what we have created. Okay. Now, so recording is started, right? Yeah. So this is the API. So what we did till now, we created the batches, we created the candidate. Now in one batch, we will have multiple candidates. Like as in B-32, you are so many candidates, right? B-32 is our batch and you are the candidate. So now you are going to do the enrollment. Okay. So here enrollment ID is our primary key. Batch ID is our foreign key and candidate ID is our foreign key. So whatever the batch you created, that ID you need it over here. And in candidate also you need the same ID. So this is my object. Again, I'm using the same Copilot chat to create the next UI. So I will say this is object for enrollment. Create Crud UI for same. Use same UI as per above. Fine. Let it do it works. We will create our component till then. Let me close all. Let's open new folder. Ng generate component. That will be our enrollment. Once we create the component, again, we are following the same structure. Like for every module, we are creating new service. So we have to create a service also. Or let it be a different service only. Enrollment. We have to create our service. Ng generate service. Service. Click. Is it done? Yet to complete. Okay. Now we have to create the class also. Now in batch component, we have used our template form. In candidate, we have used reactive form, but that was using form group. Where what is? Yeah. So this was using form group. Now in your enrollment, we will use the reactive form, but with the form builder. Okay. Then in the last component or somewhere now we will try to use the signal based form also, so that we will cover that also. Okay. So let's directly start creating that enrollment.ts. Okay. So anyone like from B-32, we have to create the reactive form by using form builder now. We have covered this in morning. Reactive form module we need to import. Can anyone tell me like how do we do that now? Anyone like to go?
We will inject the form builder.
Okay. Just form group. Why we are getting error? Sorry, initialization. Yeah. So we have to inject our form builder service. So form builder is equal to inject. We have to inject our form builder service. Then let's say I created a function. Initialize form. Yeah, go ahead. Tell me what's the syntax? How do we initialize our reactive form using form builder service?
This is the form builder inside that whatever.
This dot form builder dot group. Okay. Then round bracket, then curly bracket. Then here we need the control name. So whatever the control name you have, enrollment ID, colon. What do we write it over here? After this?
Initial value.
How? That's what I'm asking. How? What's the syntax?
0.
Directly 0. How do I write?
Square bracket in
Square bracket, na? First is your initial value, then you can pass your validators dot required something like that. Okay. You should know the syntax. Okay. Then like this remaining you have to create.
Can we not give without square bracket if we don't want to give any validation for that?
I'm also not sure. Let's try. It works, I think. So batch ID. And here we have to pass we don't need date, so we will go with empty. This is where we go with false. Okay. So we created our reactive form, and this function we need to call on the page load. So in constructor, we will call this. So before loading, before our UI is ready, we should have our form initialized properly. Okay. Let's see if our UI is ready. Enrollment Crud. Okay. Let's copy, paste it over here. We'll remove this. We'll remove this. Format selection. We don't need this. Container fluid, we need to add. So every component, in every UI, we are doing this, okay? Since we created the component, we have to create the routes also. Fine. This link we will add on our navbar. Over here. Save. Let's try logging with my detail. Chetan@gmail. Admin. Sign. Okay. So this was our batch component. This was our candidate, and this is the enrollment. So see, UI again same behavior, because whenever we work on the project, all the pages should have the same look and feel. Okay. So that's why we are using the same prompt to create all the UI. Okay. Now, so here we created our reactive form. Now that we have to bind. Again, doesn't matter you create the reactive form using form group or form builder. There won't be no changes in the HTML. It will be same like that. Okay. So form tag is there. Square bracket form group is equal to your enrollment form. Enrollment ID we don't need, so let's remove it. So here form controller name is equal to your control name, batch ID. Let me copy paste. Candidate ID, date, and the checkbox is active. See, now it's same thing we are doing it again and again. Okay. Because almost same, but here we have a foreign key. So for that, we have to call the API. Be on mute, don't unmute. Background noise is coming. Okay. So in our enrollment object, enrollment ID is our foreign primary key, batch ID and the candidate ID is our foreign key, right? So here we have a drop down. Now this is static, but from where we should get the data? What we should show it over here? What we should show it over here in this drop down? Is this correct? Is this correct data? What data we should show it inside this drop down, and what data we should show in this drop down?
Batch name and candidate
Batch
name.
name and candidate name.
So from where you will get that? From another API,
From the
na?
respective
Another
From
API
respective
get all
API. Okay. So this API, whatever the API response we have got from this, get batch, whatever the response we get, that we need to bind it over here. But this API call we have already created. We have already a batch service, right? So do we need to again create this API call function? No, right? Because for batch, we already created this, na? See, this function is there, get all batches. So now we need to inject this service into our enrollment also. Okay. So batch service is equal to inject batch service. Okay. Now we have to create one more function, get all batches. Okay, this dot batch service dot get all batches dot subscribe round bracket curly bracket next colon round bracket result colon I API response, because this is a common response, right? All the API is giving you the same data. Now you need a variable where you will store the data. Shall we go for a normal variable or a signal? What should we use? Normal variable or signal?
Signal.
Now we need to use signal.
Signal only, because if you use the normal variable, it won't, UI won't update. Okay. So batch data colon. Now we have already created the interface or class for batch, right? So batch model. Okay. This type of API we are going to get. So this data, we will store it over here. res.data. And this function we need to call on the page load. So we have to implement our lifecycle event. Implements on init. ng on init. Sometimes they are asking this question like, what should be the flow? Where your variable should be there, when your construction should be there, when your lifecycle event. So first in our class, variable should be there. Then constructor, then your lifecycle event. This is the flow we should follow. This should not be your interview question, but they are asking this. Okay, just to say ki how you are writing the code. This dot.
Yeah. Hello, sir.
Anyone have faced this question?
Are you guys?
Hello, sir. I'm audible.
This is something completely
Yeah.
different. So what's the expectation? Is it that it's gonna be an
Background noise is coming.
No, this is.
Okay. So now what will happen on the page load? We are calling this function. This will do the API call. Whatever the data you get, that gets stored over here.
Sorry, sir.
We created normal
Yeah.
variable only. Is equal to signal. This type of data we are going to have. We will initialize with empty array. Now here dot value you need to use dot set. Right. Now in the HTML, this was the static data. Instead of it, we now need to make it a dynamic. Okay. So here at the rate for loop. At the rate for. So we have to iterate on batch list, batch data. It's a signal. So we will access that as a method. Round bracket. This option will go over here. Property binding to the value. What you will bind it over here? To the value, what you will bind?
Index
Name.
No. Batch
ID.
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 Here you will show the name. Okay. Because it's an array of object. Now, while what API in enrollment, what it needs? Does it need name or as ID? See your API.
ID, sir.
Enrollment, post API. What it need? ID. So value, whatever the value you assign over here, that will get sent, na? Right? So item dot batch name, you will display it over here. Okay. Let's save it and check it one more time. So see, whatever the batches you guys created, all are coming over here. Understood? Clear, everyone? So whenever you have a foreign key in your object, you need to check if from which API you are going to get the data for this, and that you bind it over here. Understood?
Yes.
Now tell me what is wrong with this code. What is wrong with this code, whatever we have written? It's not wrong, but what we can improve.
We can directly assign that subscription to the signal.
Right. What else? Anyone
Use
else?
async pipe.
Async pipe. Interview preparation, guys. Right? Because if you are subscribing, we have to unsubscribe also. Right? So B32 people.
avoid the memory leaks.
Right. So B32, I didn't explain. I have not explained this till now. I'm not going to explain right now also, but interview people are also there. So that's why I'm asking this question. Okay. Now in pipe, how many pipes we have seen? Morning batch. Pipes. How many pipes we have seen till now?
Like date pipe.
Eight.
Date, lowercase,
Custom
uppercase,
built-in
slice,
pipe,
Yeah.
right?
pure,
And we
impure.
have created our custom pipe also. At that time, I have said ki we have something async pipe. This is the default pipe only, async pipe. Okay. Now, this API called data, what we are doing, we are just fetching the data, and whatever the data we are getting, that we are going to store it into variable, and then we are using that variable in the HTML. Instead of doing this, means the problem with this code is like whenever you subscribe, you have to unsubscribe. Okay, otherwise it will be continuously fetching the data. It will be continuously active. Even if you navigate from enrollment to the batch component or candidate now, still this code will be active. So we have to unsubscribe. Instead of doing that, we can use async pipe. Okay, now how do you use the async pipe? So first we will import the async pipe. So
Sir, in async pipes, automatically
it will subscribe into the HTML. Async pipe. Okay. Now here, instead of creating a normal signal, you will create an observable. Okay. Now the second drop down, candidate dollar, candidate list dollar colon observable. What type of data? So candidate model response candidate array only we are going to store na, is equal to new observable candidate model. Okay. So we created a plain observable. Okay. Now we, from where we have created a candidate service, right? Just like what we have done for batch, we have created a variable, we have done the API call function, and then whatever the data we are getting, we are storing into over here. Just like the same, now instead of, we are going to make the API call, but instead of subscribing over here, we will do the subscribe in directly HTML. But to this observable, we have to provide the API call function. So in constructor, this dot candidate list is equal to, now we have to inject our service also, candidate is equal to inject candidate service. Okay, candidate service I have injected. Again, in variable also now, all this, your form group, after that you should have a space. Once you are once you did all the inject, you should have a space. Okay. After that, all the signal means again, before constructor only, you should create all your variable and everything. But again, there should be also grouping. It should not be like one service is over here and another service is over here. We can create a ESLint rule also to check this. And when you run now, you will get the compilation error that you have not grouped all this. Okay. So have a habit ki when you are in your component, all the injection should be in one in as a combined group, then your all signal, then your observable groups and anything or normal variable also. Just group it. Okay. So this dot candidate list is equal to this dot candidate service dot get all candidate. Now tell me what this function was returning. What was the return type of this function? Observable of type IAPI response. Correct? Because our API is returning result data and message property. But what is the data type of this candidate list? Array of
Candidate
candidate,
model.
right? Now, this is returning something else, and the data type of this is something else. So obviously, we will get error. You know, the string and the number. If you have created a string variable and you try to store the number variable, it will give you the error. Same thing is happening over here. The data type of this is observable of type this array, but this function is returning observable type of something else. So here we have to, our API call function is returning message, result and data. In data, we have the actual array. So here we can use map. So pipe. Okay, so B32 people, we have not seen this pipe and everything till now. But see what we are doing. Our API call is returning object, and that object is containing data, message, and the result property. But in this variable, what we need to store? Just the data, the array itself. So that's why here I am using map operator. So map operator is from RxJS, not the array map. In RxJS also we have map operator. Okay. So result colon I API response. Result colon I API response res dot data. See, now error is gone. So what I'm doing with this code, this function is returning you an object, result data and message. Now out of that, I am extracting just the data, and that I am storing it over here. Now in your this observable, what type of observable you will have? Directly array data. Okay. Now this observable you can use directly into the HTML by using async pipe @for async pipe. Okay. Now this option will go over here. Again, property binding item dot candidate ID. You will bind it over here, primary key, and here you can show your candidate name. Item dot candidate. Sorry, what's the property name? Full name. See now. See, candidate is also coming, batch is also coming. Now, if you check the API call, check in the component. What we did, we just created an observable and we didn't subscribe. Where we are subscribing? We are subscribing directly into the HTML by using the async pipe. In batch, you did subscribe in the .ts and you stored data into a variable. But in case of candidate, what you did, you just created an observable, and where you subscribe in directly HTML by using the async pipe. So in case of async pipe, you don't have to worry about the unsubscribe. It will take care of that. Okay. So now see on the page load, you will see two API calls happening. Reload. Batch and the candidate. Batch component you know, but candidate is happening from HTML directly. So this is the use of async pipe, where instead of subscribing into the .ts, you can directly subscribe into the HTML. Normally, in case of the dropdown, we use async pipe mostly. If you are getting the dropdown data from API, don't subscribe like this. Directly subscribe like this only. Create an observable and use like this. And why we written this code map? Because our API call is returning object and we don't need object. We just need the array. So that's why from whole API response, we just extracted data, the array itself. Clear? So this is your async pipe. B-32 people. This is the first time I have explained you this.
No, sir.
Not
One
sure
doubt.
like everyone will get everything.
Hello, I'm
Any,
audible.
any question? Santosh, your voice is very low.
Yeah, I'm audible now.
Yeah.
So why we use observable, right?
See,
Instead of calling
what this function is returning?
return all candidate details.
No. Observable.
Yeah.
See, what do we have in this function? HTTP API call. What this
Hmm.
function HTTP.get, what it returns? Observable type of data. Okay. So, and we said observable of type API response. So all our API response is this, na?
Mhm.
Result data dot message. Three
Yes.
properties we are getting. Common response, right?
Okay.
You're
Yes.
working on .NET. So in API, we keep our common response, right?
Mhm.
So we created an observable because this function is returning observable type of data. Okay. So we created observable saying in this variable, we are going to store observable type of data, but array of candidate. Okay. So here we just assigned the function call. We didn't subscribe. Subscribe is happening into the HTML. Okay.
Yeah, we using async pipe, right?
Yes, using async
But
pipe.
but what is the benefit, right? Without
You don't have
subscribing.
to subscribe. See, when you do like this now, when you normally do
Mhm.
like this, next thing you have to do is unsubscribe also.
Okay.
Okay.
Means destroy, right?
Subscription, subscription.
It is mandatory to subscription to the
Whenever you
unsubscribe?
subscribe, you should unsubscribe also. So what you
It
do,
is mandatory.
yeah, that's mandatory. Otherwise, it will create a memory leak. This code will be
Okay.
active, even though you navigated from this component. Okay.
Mm.
So you create a subscription object, then you push this subscription object, this dot subscription is equal to like this. Then on the page destroy means once you destroy on destroy lifecycle event, and then you write your ng on destroy, and this dot your subscription dot unsubscribe. So whatever you subscribe, you are clearing that. So when you do like this, you have to do this extra thing also. You have to create a subscription. You have to assign it over there. Then and on the page load, you have to unsubscribe. So instead of doing all this, you can directly subscribe into the HTML, and async pipe will take care of the unsubscribe also.
Then one thing, sir. Can
Hmm.
you please go to the TS file?
Hmm.
Go little bit.
Hmm.
So here is right. Little bit. Go little bit.
Hmm.
Here we are implements on it and tester, right?
Hmm.
But in our project, right? In my domain project, I'm not implementing on it and tester. I'm directly declaring the ng on it.
Yeah, so and that is the problem. If you don't in this ng on it lifecycle, na, even if you don't implement it, na, still it is working. That is the problem
Yes.
with Angular. But on destroy won't work.
Okay.
Okay. If you
Okay.
don't implement it, on destroy is a normal function. It won't trigger automatically. Okay.
Mm.
Remaining people understood?
Yeah, sir, I have one doubt.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
सर अगर हम लोग मतलब जो गेट ऑल बैचेस का जो अपना मेथड है वो एनजीओनेट में कॉल किया बराबर, तो
Right.
एक ही बार कॉल होगा.
हाँ.
तो अगर मैं इसको अनसब्सक्राइब नहीं भी करूंगा तो वापस तो ये कॉल होने वाला नहीं है ना.
लेट्स से ये
तो-
फंक्शन और किसी कंपोनेंट से ट्रिगर हुआ तो
हाँ.
करके दिखाता हूं मैं. ठीक है. अब यहाँ पे भी मैं डिबगर लगाता हूँ. प्रॉपरली देखो. Everyone understood his question? I will repeat. He asked ki we are calling this function on the page load. Okay. So this is not going to trigger again. Only one time we are calling, right? So why we need to unsubscribe? So see now. Okay. I will remove this unsubscribe. Okay. Here also I'm adding a debugger. Okay. Currently we are in the enrollment component. Okay. Fine. Now see how many times this function will trigger. Reload. Enrollment component, we got the batch list. Clear? Because we are in the enrollment component. Okay. Now if I go to the batch component, wait, how it is not happening? It's not working. How I will tell you the scenario now. Consider key. Now this is very simple component. Okay. Let's say you have a very big component. Okay. A parent page is there, and this API call function in your parent component, you are using 4 to 5 components you are rendering in the same component. Consider it as a detail page, and 2-3 components you are rendering in the same component. Okay. Here also this is now this form and this list is coming in the same component. Let's say here also you have a batch drop down, and let's say above the table also you have the batch drop down. Okay. Now on the page load, same service function will execute 2 times if this is coming from 2 different components. One time over here, one time over here. So if you here it will execute, your subscribe will execute, because both are loaded into the memory. Here also it will execute, and here also it will execute 2 times. Getting it, Amol? Try it. You have to try it, then only you will understand.
Yes.
Okay. Instead of having this in the same component, create add new component and enrollment list component as a different component, and then inject into your enrollment component. Then do the same thing. Then you will be able to understand. Or best thing, try with subject or behavior subject. Instead of with this API call now, try to subscribe the subject or behavior subject. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, B32 people understood async pipe. Clear or no? Shall I give one more example? A simple one.
Yes.
Okay. What are the various ways to create observable? What are the various ways to create observable? Guys, what are the various ways to create observable? We have seen that. How many ways are there how you can create an observable?
With, of, and from.
Of, from, observable, subject, behavior, subject, replace subject, right? We discuss it now. Let's say in enrollment component, here you have to show the current time. Current time you have to show. After every second, updated time should be visible. Understood? Whatever the time is there, it's currently 21.21 Once it 44, again it should be visible. Updated time it should show over here. How we can do that? Forget about RxJS. I want to show the updated time over here. Whenever time changes, after 1 minute, 1 second, everything, whole time I need to show it over here. See what I'm saying. Let's say, how do we get the current date? Current date, colon, new date.
New date.
Okay. This is how you get the current date. Okay. So I will copy this and I will print it over here. It will print everything, right? But I just need the time. So I will use, how do we extract the time? By using date pipe, right? Date pipe. Here, date, and I will pass HH:MM:SS. All in small case, or do we need something in capital? Small case only, na? Let's see. I also forgot. Yeah. So see, 9:44:53. But this is static. This is second night. Should be changing, correct? If I refresh again, then it will show the updated. See? So it should continuously change. How we can do this? Updated time. You're getting my point, right? What is our task? You might have seen the clocks, na? It should
Displaying the
continuously
updated
change.
value.
Every
Sir, if
time
we
after
define it-
second change, updated date time we have to show. How you will achieve this?
Yes.
Can
Forget
we
about
define a
Angular.
signal?
Normal JavaScript. No. No, you instead of going with the signal also say. You are saying this is a normal variable, so that it's not displaying. Let's store it into signal. Still it will behave the same. What's the error? What mistake we did? Okay, here it's a signal. No, as a method. Still it will show only one value, no? Because whatever the initialization value you have, that's only, no? When this code run, whatever the value was there at that time, that only it will store, no? Understood?
Yes, sir, got it.
Problem statement you understood or not? What is the task? Aishwarya, Amir, interview people. Vishal, you understood the task?
Yeah, we have to show the date whenever it
Time,
changes, right?
right? Updated date
Time.
every time. 0,
We should
1,
use
2, 3. Like that it should
we should
happen.
use interval or set interval.
Right. Amir, you didn't think of interval? Amir is not there. Vishal, people, those who are giving interviews. This is very well-known use case. Okay. So, interval. How does interval work? RxJS interval. Timer interval dollar is equal to interval. Okay. 1 second. Okay. Now I will this dot timer interval dot subscribe. Now what we'll do, every time this current date value I will change. So this dot current date is equal to again a new date. So after every, why it is giving error now? Okay, so we got it as signal. So dot set. Okay, so after every 1 second, my timer will this timer will execute, and again I'm recomputing the value of set timer, my date. So now see, getting it? It's changing now. Understood? Understood or no? Guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what will happen? It is like set interval. Na? In JavaScript, how does set interval? After every 1 second, it will execute. You are just recomputing the variable value, new date. Okay. Now what we did, we created a normal signal. Okay. Now instead of creating a normal signal, then we subscribe. We can create an observable also. Okay. Current. Now I will comment this. Or let's say current time colon observable. Any is equal to new observable. Okay. Now here, what we wanted to do, no, wrong example we are seeing. Interval kind of thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, that only we have to do. So here, what do we get? Let's see, what do we get it over 1, 2, 3, I think it, no? In interval. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So after every second, you will get the counter. Okay. So instead of timer, we will call it as a counter. So see here, forget about this date time. In case of date, we have to subscribe and we have to recompute. So this is fine. But let's say you just have to counter it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So counter dollar is equal to observable colon observable, or directly inside this variable, I will store interval. It's not, sorry, equal to interval. Okay. Let's say after 2 seconds every. So see, now in this counter variable, what type of data we have got? Observable type of number. In this variable, what we are storing? Interval. Na? Interval by default return observable. And we said timer, right? Interval gives you 1, 2, 3. So now let's say I want to show the counter. So what you will normally do? You will create a variable. Counter value colon. Let's say because signal we need to use, otherwise it won't show updated value into the UI. So signal we use, signal data type number initialized with 0. Okay. Now, normally what you will do, you will subscribe to the counter. So this dot counter dot subscribe round bracket result. This dot counter val is equal to res. Okay. Sorry, set method. So you created a interval and you created a normal variable. You are subscribing to the counter, and after 2 seconds, this is going to execute, and that result, whatever the counter value you have, that you are storing it over here. Now this variable you will use over here. Okay. Let's say after this equal to, I'm writing like this. So here you will be able to access the counter. Okay. Save and save. 0, After every 2 seconds, it will execute. See, 1, 2. Okay. So what we did, we have created a counter. Counter will execute. Counter, in that counter variable, we have stored the interval. So after every 2 seconds, this subscribe will execute. And once we subscribe, we are storing the counter value in this variable. So now here we have created this variable. Then we did the subscribe. So instead of this counter, we can directly subscribe into the HTML. So see, counter and with async pipe. Directly I'm subscribing over here. Now I don't need this variable also. I don't need this subscribe also. See. 0, 1. Now understood? So what you did basically, you don't need this number, you don't need this variable also, and you don't need this subscribe logic also. You have a observable, that observable value, you are directly subscribing into the HTML. Now understood? Clear or no? If you don't use the async pipe, you create a variable. You subscribe, whatever the value you get, that you store into that variable. Then you use that variable over there. But instead of doing that, you can directly listen to the observable value in the HTML. Whenever this observable value gets changed, you will be able to read it over here. See. Understood? Async pipe. By using async pipe, you can subscribe any observable directly into the HTML. You don't have to subscribe and read the value. Directly value, you will be able to get it out over here. Clear? Yeah, Shekhar.
So does that means suppose now consider a store application and there is I'm having some data and that data is going to change. Suppose there e-card application and there is some product and that some product quantity is going to change as some person buys that and it updates. So you want to say that if in that case, if I design that variable as observable and use async pipe, so it will show me the updated value instead of
value. You don't have to again subscribe. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Not only for API, but for this also we can do,
anything
right?
which is returning observable. Okay. Whatever the variable, if it's a variable, if it's a function, if it is having observable type of data, instead of normally doing subscribe and storing into another variable, you can directly subscribe into the HTML itself. Okay.
Right. Okay. Yes. Yes,
Understood?
I understood. Thank you. Yeah.
Remaining guys.
Yes, sir, understood.
Naved, Mohammad, Rahul, Sandeep. It's okay if you
Can
don't
we
understand.
use, hello,
Yeah, sure.
can we use computed because it is based on the
Yeah, we
second
can
value?
use, but why you will use computed? Every time you are getting a new value, na? You
Okay.
don't have to
Yeah.
consider previous one, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Computed is like using two different signal, you are creating a new value. There you will go for a computed. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So the remaining API call means save API call will be as it is. Just this foreign key was something different in the enrollment. Understood, guys? I'm not creating that save and the post gate also, because whatever we did in batch, same will be in their candidate also. No difference in anything. Okay. Everyone has
So
created.
we'll need two variables now for holding the batch ID and the candidate ID, because depending upon that we have to do the next API call for the enrollments.
Sorry, where?
The batch ID and the candidate ID, we need to store it somewhere because out of that list we are going to select the two.
We have created observable, no? Sorry, form we have created. Where is our form?
No, you go to .NET API.
No. .NET API, you don't have to worry about .NET. See, in enrollment, we created an enrollment form. This form, we binded it over here. And here we have binded the value.
Right.
So once you select it, the value will get stored in this control, na? So once you get the form value, you will have batch ID over here. You will get the object. See, we will just create the function.
No, what I wanted to say, the post method of enrollment is having batch ID and candidate ID both over there in that
Yeah.
form.
So you will have, no, once user select, in the object you will
Huh.
get it. See, on save, enroll.
No, means I'm having a doubt right like this. Either we have to select batch ID and candidate ID, or we need to select both for the
Both.
enrollment.
Those are not
Both.
dependent.
Okay.
It's not
Okay.
dependent, na? Both we have to select.
Okay. Right.
See now. Constant.
And the list will be shown that is based on the batch selection.
No,
Because
get
on
all.
batch selection, no.
Nothing.
Acha.
All the
So
enrollment
that
we have to
method,
show. I have created one API, na?
okay.
Where is
That
this?
gate method is created.
This API
Okay,
you have to use now. Okay, this API we will use later. Okay.
Okay.
This dot.
So here,
your
get all
enrollment.
enrollments, all batches, and all candidates will be listed, right? For that enrollment.
No. Here you
That
just
is
have
what
to show your enrollment list, na? So whatever the data you get from this API, that you have to show. That's it. Get all batch and candidate API you have done to bind out over here. Okay.
Okay.
Fine.
Yes. I did it in another way. That's was I was confused. Now
Clear now?
it's clear, sir. Understood.
Okay. See now what type of data you get. Let's say.
Yes, sir.
Why it's not coming? Yeah. Let's say B40 candidate. I am selecting Sandeep. Enroll. Why date is not coming? What's the okay date time? Date. Save. Okay. Is active true. Now on click of, we need to remove this debugger, otherwise it will disturb. Let's debugger. Save. Batch B40 Shaker. Okay. Enrollment date to date cell is active true. See, in batch ID you got 119, candidate ID you got 38. You selected a batch name, but what you got? ID. Why? Because in the value attribute you binded the batch ID and the candidate ID. Okay. See, batch ID is 119 and candidate is 38. If I change batch ID to React and Angular, see 103. Understood?
Yes, sir. Clear. Got it.
Remaining people? So you don't have to worry about that batch ID and the candidate ID. Whatever you select, that ID will get automatically saved to your form. This object you need to pass to your API. Nothing new in that. Okay. Clear all? So whenever you have a foreign key, just like from wherever you are getting the foreign key data, that extra API call you have to do. Either you do like this or you create an observable and using the async pipe, you subscribe into the HTML. But make sure this value attribute you should bind it properly. Primary key. Understood? Then once you select the value, whatever the full name you select, that ID will get selected over here in this form. Okay. Clear all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes. Well, let me provide. Shubham and Milind, can you provide your GitHub email IDs so that I can provide you access? Because the remaining post and code is yet to done now. GitHub. Milind, Shubham. Both are here or no? Milind, Shubham. Both are not there. Anyone ready? Aishwarya or someone? I need help to complete the remaining thing. In batches, I just did save and the get API. update and the delete API I have not done. Same over here. Anyone interested to complete the remaining work?
Yes, I can do.
Okay, just
Yes,
share
sir.
me the email, your GitHub ID. I will provide you the access. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So yesterday, day before yesterday, we did some CV analysis, interview preparation people. I think only few people you join. Amiran. Anyone you want to review your CV? Aishwarya or Vishal or anyone?
Sir, I want to do Ankit.
Ankit. Yeah, you can share. Okay, so remaining people you can leave the call unless you want to see what things should be there in your CV. Let's stay back.
Sir, you are keeping recording on, no?
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, Niket, share.